This here is none other than the tomb of Christopher Columbus.
Going where the fair winds blow, our home is where the waters flow. We'll show you what we've come to know on board while sailing wisdom.
We are here in Seville. We're taking a day trip. It was a 2-hour bus ride from Cadiz, and we're seeing as much as we possibly can today. This is the 4th largest city in Spain and the capital of Andalusia, which is kind of a region in the south of Spain. So it's a really important city, and it's got 4th biggest population in Spain. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's got Moorish history, it's got Roman history. We've hit the jackpot here. Our first stop is the Alcázar. It's the palace where the royalty lived, and it's probably the most popular tourist spot in town. So we actually splurged and paid the 25 euros per person to get a guided tour in English and skipped the 2.5-hour line.
Really cool how this is just such a combination of so many cultures. So this is remains of a Roman aqueduct that then the Muslims expanded when they were here with the Moorish colonies, and it fed water into the Moorish palace that was over there, and then the whole thing has then been reconstructed as a Christian palace in the 1200s. So ornate. Like, this really looks like if you're in a Moorish palace, but it's not. It's built by Christians, just with that style.
And you can tell that it's built by Christians because there are little motifs of lions and castles around that the Islamic art would never have included. The most intricate parts of this are actually made out of plaster. And the tile patterns are
just so intricate and geometric.
Really cool.
It's just, wow. There's a fountain that just runs through the middle of it. It gives this feeling of peace and serenity to this so wildly ornate room. It's
idyllic.
It's idyllic, and it just calms it down and grounds it. And it's kind of the polar opposites mixing in one place, and just giving you absolute beauty and peace.
This is the throne room, and it really best exemplifies the ornate nature of the Islamic/Christian marriage of the artistic styles. This also happens to be the hall where various scenes of Game of Thrones were filmed.
Never
Right now we're in the Gothic Palace, which is the oldest palace on these grounds. You can see evidence of the Gothic architecture in the arched ceilings and the simplicity of the room. It's not super ornate like the previous palace was. It serves a purpose, but it's also beautiful in its simplicity. So this fountain is one of the oldest preserved parts of this palace. It's from the Gothic Palace, the first floor of the Gothic Palace, which was destroyed during the Lisbon earthquake in the 1700s. Tour of the palaces. There were 3 palaces. The most beautiful was definitely the one with the most Islamic and Moorish influence. What happened was the Moors were here first, and the Christians came, tore down the Moorish palace, but they were so influenced by the Islamic architecture and art that they kind of
brought it back in.
Yeah, they combined kind of their ideals with the Moorish ideals to make this beautiful, like,
marriage of the two.
Yeah.
So what was also interesting is a lot of the artisans that did the construction simply converted to Catholicism. So they
brought with them the knowledge and the
style
artistry.
That when they built the Moorish temple, the Moorish palace, then they built it again just with a couple tweaks to make it Christian.
And the main difference between the Moorish style, the Islamic style of artwork, and the Christian style of artwork is that Islam doesn't use any imagery of people or animals or representations of anything human in their artwork. They use plant symbolism and just design because...
And a lot of text.
And a lot of text, yeah. Because God is the only one who can create human images in their religion. So the tour ended with this beautiful garden that we're about to see, and I mean, we could spend the whole day here, but we're gonna try to kind of get through it and see as much as we can before we
head to the next thing.
Exactly.
It's a packed day here in Seville.
Stop for lunch here. We got some tapas, including jamón ibérico, or Iberian ham, which is very famous in this region, and it is absolutely delicious. It's like a very smoky taste compared to Italian prosciutto. We also got, of course, some cheese and some chorizo.
We just had a delicious lunch, so now we're gonna go and check out the old hospital.
I'm really excited about this one. This is not an extremely highly trafficked tourist attraction, but apparently it's a hidden gem and it's got some Velázquez painting in it, so I'm especially excited for that. So here we are in the courtyard of the hospital, and it was indeed a hospital for elderly and just the infirmed, and it is where they lived for the rest of their lives, usually. It was built in the late 1600s, and it houses some very famous paintings. So we're gonna go see them now. We're going into the church.
chapel of the hospital, which was a very important spot because often people would come here to devote themselves to God while they were sick, so that when they died, they knew where they were going. This being built at the end of the 17th century, it is in the Baroque style, and that can really be shown by the paintings on the ceilings. The paintings kind of come out and go beyond their frames, and a lot of the figures tend to look like they're falling from the ceiling, falling from the painting, and that was very typical of the Baroque style. The organ is a particularly beautiful part of this chapel, and it is of the neo-Baroque style. So walking up these stairs, like in a lot of these really old places in Europe, you can see where the stairs have kind of furrowed down from the amount of people who have stepped on it. So it's just a really cool link that you have with so many people throughout hundreds of years of history who have also walked these stairs.
For the amount of tourists that are here today in October, I'm really surprised that so few people were in that hospital. I just thought it was an invaluable experience to go in there.
Yeah, it really was just gorgeous and amazing.
Gorgeous and amazing.
Yes.
So in our crazy packed day, the next thing we're gonna do is go into the cathedral if we can.
Yeah, we tried earlier this morning and they were closed for Mass.
Because it is Sunday.
It is Sunday. And here, as we enter the church, you can see Saint Herman the Lonely, the only saint on the wall.
This here is none other than the tomb of Christopher Columbus.
This is just really awesome. I never expected to ever see Columbus's tomb in my life. I never even thought about where was he buried. And here we are, and here he is. It's like this guy is the one that made crossing the Atlantic famous. He's the one that set out, even though they already knew there was land there and the routes already existed, he's the one that's famous for it. So it's just amazing to see it, and I must say, that is a tomb like I've never seen ever before in my life.
So there's something very unique about this tower, and that is that there are no steps. It's a ramp all the way up, and that's because, I can't remember who, but the dude who would climb the tower wanted to be able to do it on his horse.
We're currently in Plaza de España.
It's beautifully thought out.
Yeah, I must
and
say,
executed.
the water does help like tone it down and bring it back to nature. Growing up in Puerto Rico, everything's the Spanish layout, where you have the plaza, the city hall, the church, and that's just how every town is. So I was just expecting another square with stone, and it's so much more.
Tiles in the square look almost Portuguese.
A really neat thing with this plaza, it's set up in 3 rings. So like you have the inner plaza where it's, you know, the stones and everything happens, and it's the typical square. And then there's the moat that goes around it with bridges. So then that takes you to the middle row, and it's like a hoop that goes around the non-square square. And then beyond that, you have this gorgeous building, so you get a nice little semicircle going around again. So it's like, you can be in so many different
You
areas.
forgot about the part where you could be in the water.
Oh, you could also be in the water in a rowboat. So there's 4 areas technically. 3 by foot, 1 by wet. So we've been using these electric scooters to get around town, and it has made it so easy. There's no mess with traffic or parking or anything. It's just hop on it. And then we've got to see so much today. It's amazing. So now we're going to join some friends for dinner. Check it out.
Home in Cádiz.
Yes, we're back in Cádiz now. We had a whirlwind day in Seville.
It was awesome.
So amazing.
We ended it by seeing one of my mom's best friends from high school who happened to be visiting Sevilla as well. So that's why we made the special trip today, of all days.
Yep.
So it was just a magical, fantastic, overwhelmingly awesome day.
Yeah, so now we're back. We're gonna get back to the boat and we're gonna sleep.
And this time we're gonna walk.
Yeah, we're gonna walk instead of run. So this morning, I kept saying it was 7, and Maddie kept hearing that it was at 7:30. We got to the bus about 4 minutes before it left, but we had to run 2 kilometers. Oof.
We are not in running clothes.
No, and I'm in flip-flops, so.
It was rough.
Now the weather's calmed down too, because this morning we had a really windy dinghy ride. So it was quite splashy.
Yeah.
And now...
It was expressive.
Yes. So now we're just gonna head back, have a leisure walk, and then a leisure dinghy ride.
And then a leisure day tomorrow, because holy crap.
We are tired.
We're up on the Torre Tavira, and it's a beautiful 360 view of the whole city of Cádiz. Right now we are waiting for a weather window to head to Tangier, and it is foggy. Good thing for Navionics.
That artisan and carpenter spent 30 years on one project. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.
And if you'd like to follow our journey in real time on a map, receive postcards from our ports of call, and message us directly to the boat, you can go ahead and become a patron using the link in the description down below.